So today we're looking at the Swift65 from Swift Cables, and it's honestly a pretty nice keyboard at a great price, and I'm excited to show you guys. And when we look at the group buy page here, the Swift65 keyboard kit starts at $235 US, which is about 300 Canadian, and can go up to almost $245 US if we want the hot swap PCB, which is around $311 Canadian. Now, depending on which color you get, these prices can vary. The most expensive one that I saw was the polycarbonate. But it does come in a lot of different colors. It comes in black, e-white, a mix of colors, a dark purple, which is my personal favorite, a navy blue, or a polycarbonate version. Now, it does also have two different PCBs. It has a wide variety of support on the solderable one, being ISO and ANSI, as well as a hot swap one, which is locked at a 7U spacebar. But let's actually take a look at this keyboard, shall we? And this is the Swift65, and it sure really is a looker in this beautiful purple. I am so in love with this color. Now, in terms of aesthetics, this keyboard has a pretty standard wedge style side profile, which is beautiful. I really like it. It does look really pretty on this keyboard. And here's the rear end of the keyboard, as well as the bottom, which you can see that beautiful brass weight. Now, this will patina over time, which I'm looking forward to. And here's the front of the keyboard. So to run down on some stats of the keyboard really quick, I'm going to read them out to you right now. So the keyboard is slated to come with a non-optional aluminum plate with a PCB, as well as a Swift carrying case. So to start, this is a gasket mounted keyboard with a typing angle of 6 degrees and a front height of about 18.5 millimeters. It comes in at about 1.5 kilograms unbuilt with the weight in. And while the keyboard description page does state it comes with multiple different plates, you will have to buy those separately at additional cost. And both PCBs, both the solderable and the hot swap, are via NQMK supported, which is awesome. We love to see it. And the keyboard does come with case foam, plate, and PCB foam, all of which is optional, by the way. And before we get too far into the video, I just want to disclose this is not a sponsored video. I did this just because I wanted to review the keyboard, and I am not keeping this keyboard, but I was paid for some of the photos that I took of the keyboard. But let's talk about the quality of the keyboard. Now, a lot of people have been asking about quality of anodization, etc. in other keyboards. I think this one here is absolutely flawless. I didn't notice anything at all about the anode quality. It looked great. It matched both the top and the bottom. I was very, very fond of that, and the purple is just so rich. I absolutely love this color. And other than the anode hook marks on the inside, which is completely regular with these type of keyboards, it was completely flawless. Please keep in mind this was a prototype that was sent to me, so I'm not too sure if the quality of the production run will vary at all. And the PCB is pretty standard too. It does have some flex cuts here if you do decide to go with a half plate, which this should be pretty bouncy if you decide to, or a polycarbonate plate. And this does support split backspace, split right shift, as well as ISO. And I did a whole bunch of builds with this keyboard, and I ended up really liking the aluminum plate best. But I have been fancying aluminum plates more so recently, so take that more as a preference. However, I did want to talk about one thing when it comes down to plates. So while I ended up really liking a lot of things about this keyboard, there's one thing that kind of irks me about the whole group buy model, which is if you did not want an aluminum plate, you're kind of forced into it. You can't really just swap what plate you're getting with this keyboard when you decide to place your order. So in this case here, it will cost you about an additional $20 to get a different plate. Now again, I would have liked to see some options to swap what default plate you get, but I'm not mad at the fact that you get an aluminum plate. I'm kind of biased towards them. But again, I would urge anyone who's running a group buy to create some sort of option. And I think this is important because if someone doesn't even want to use aluminum, that aluminum plate's just gonna go to waste. Plus, it's just an additional cost that the customer has to incur, which is kind of crappy. There was one small aesthetic thing about this keyboard which I didn't quite understand why it was there, and that's this small gap right underneath the USB-C. Now obviously this isn't visible, nor is it taking away from the actual sound profile or quality of the keyboard, but I think this would have looked a lot more flushed out if this was just a solid piece of aluminum. I don't really understand why it's there. But I'll open this guy here up just to show you guys what's inside the case. So here's the inside of the case. You can see the brass weight here at the bottom, which I love, gaskets, and there's that anode hook mark that I was showing you guys. Now this one here is a bit of an aggressive anode hook mark, but hopefully on the production units it won't be as bad. So we can see all of our gaskets here along the bottom and top of the keyboard. One thing I do love is they got separated gaskets here. A lot of the other cases can take the shortcut and leave that gasket hanging, so kudos to that. But as you can see, it's pretty simple. It's not too complicated. I like that actually. And it makes assembly of this keyboard just really simple, and I like that. And assembly is literally just putting down your gaskets and then inserting your PCB plate combo. Because the PCB plate combo sits right inside those grooves, there's really no alignment needed. And I think the thing I just really like about this keyboard here is just the overall simple aesthetic of it. It doesn't have a high price point, it sounds good, and on top of that, it feels good. I think they did a really good job at a fair price for this keyboard. And when you look at other keyboards here, the only ones I can really think to compare this to at the moment are things like the Keychron Q2, which does have a different aesthetic. It also has a knob on it. But I do think that the Swift65 rings in at a more premium look, as well as even premium sound signature and feel over the Q2. Both come with enough accessories in the box to help customize that sound signature as well. Now keep in mind, this is $169, this is $235 to start. But just like everything in this hobby, it's all preference, so you may actually like the Q2 more than you like the Swift65. But where I think this fits in the lineup of things is that middle ground between something more premium and an entry-level keyboard. I think this is an awesome first 65% if you haven't already picked one up. And if you're looking for something in a more unique color, this plum colorway is absolutely gorgeous. But the biggest thing that this actually has going for it is the brass weight, which helps chop up some of that sound signature. And the reason that's important to me is I did find with the Q2, because it's an all aluminum chassis, that it did need a little bit of extra tender love and care in the form of pour-on or some sort of foam. And again, it makes it more premium. Not only does it feel premium, but it sounds better too. And what I really love about this is it has no logos, engravings, anything like that, other than this simple border around the brass weight itself. Good job for keeping it simple. I really like that. And we can even compare it to the Mega 65, which we built recently. Now again, the bottom aesthetic of the Mega, I kind of like because of the big weight here on the bottom, but I don't like the screw placements, and if you don't like branding, this might not be for you. And with the brass bottom on this particular keyboard, it makes it almost $100 more than the Swift65. Now, if you were to compare both in their base configs, this one here being the aluminum bottom, this would still actually be $30 more. However, I do like the bezel width and the evenness of the bezels on the Mega a little bit more. But they're both beautiful keyboards. This one here doesn't have exactly thin bezels, but I do like the thicker ones more. I'm a sucker for thick bezels. I like them thick. But I'll give you guys a bit of a sound demo right now, as well as a bunch more at the end of this video. So with everything being said, who is this keyboard for? Like I mentioned earlier, I think this keyboard fits a great middle ground for someone who's looking to upgrade from a more of a stock keyboard or an entry-level keyboard up into something a little bit more premium. But if you were looking to snag a 65% keyboard that's just genuinely a good keyboard, I think the Swift65 is great. So other than the plates itself and that little hole underneath the USB-C, I couldn't really find anything that I hated about this keyboard. In fact, I think for $235 US or about 300 Canadian, this is a great price for something this premium. Now, would I buy this keyboard? Probably not right now. I don't need more 65s in my collection. And this isn't different enough from anything in my collection right now to warrant a purchase. Again, I think this is for someone who doesn't have a 65 or who's looking to upgrade from something a little bit more budget and wants to try something new. But yeah, this was just more of a simple breakdown of this keyboard. I just didn't want to post another sound demo online and really add nothing to it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more like this, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this keyboard, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.